Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Real Talk Podcast. Today, we're starting a brand new series called Simple Conversation Scenarios. In each episode, we'll show you how to have short, everyday conversations, perfect for travelers, students, or anyone looking to improve their speaking skills.
Welcome to the deep dive. We've all been there, that moment in a store when you just need the right words to find what you're looking for. Today, we're diving into something super practical, the essentials of shopping in English.
That's right. Think of this as your personal English basics, shopping companion. We've gathered a range of, everyday scenarios, everything from understanding store layouts to confidently handling returns. Our mission, really, is to equip you with the language to navigate these situations smoothly, whether you're traveling, maybe interacting with English speakers, or just expanding your practical skills.
Exactly. We want to take away that feeling of being sort of lost for words and replace it with confidence. Okay, so let's unpack this. Where should we start? Maybe the foundation, knowing where you might actually be shopping.
Good idea. So when you're looking to buy something, you'll likely head to a store or a shop.
Okay. Oh, it's different.
They're often used interchangeably, really. But you might notice shop sometimes suggests a smaller, maybe more specialized place, like a bookshop, perhaps, versus a huge department store. For groceries, you'll typically go to a supermarket. If it's clothes you're after, well, that's a clothing store. And for a whole bunch of different retailers under one roof, you're looking for a mall or maybe a shopping center.
Right, the mall.
Yeah. And a department store is kind of different, and it's usually one large store, but with lots of different sections selling all sorts of goods.
Okay.
And then finally, you've got the checkout, that's where you pay, and the fitting room, or sometimes changing room for trying on clothes.
That makes sense. Knowing the place is definitely step one. Now, who are the people you'll interact with?
Well, as the person buying things, you are the customer.
Right.
The people working there to help you are usually called sales assistants or sometimes clerks.
Sales assistants. Okay.
And when you're actually ready to pay, you'll interact with the cashier.
So the sales assistant helps you find stuff, and the cashier takes the money.
Basically, yes. Think of the sales assistant as your guide for finding things, and the cashier handles the transaction at the end.
Got it. And what about, essential items or words related to the process?
Good question. For carrying your items, especially in a supermarket, you'll likely grab a shopping cart, or you might hear trolley for bigger shops.
That big metal thing.
Yeah, or a shopping basket if you're just picking up a few things.
Okay.
Once you've paid, crucially, you'll get a receipt. That's your proof you bought it.
Keep the receipt.
Always. And to know how much something costs, you look at the price tag.
Right.
Also, keep an eye out for signs saying discount or sale. Those mean reduced prices.
Everyone loves a sale.
Absolutely. Understanding these basics really sets the stage for a smoother experience.
Okay, basics covered. Now, let's get into a really common scenario. Buying clothes. This is where I think a lot of interaction happens.
It really is. Let's imagine you walk into a clothing store. A sales assistant might come up and say something friendly like, "Hello, can I help you find anything today?"
Okay, standard opening.
Yeah. And if you do have something specific in mind, a simple, direct response works best, like, "Yes, I'm looking for a sweater."
And then comes the sizing issue. That always feels like a potential minefield.
It can be, yeah. Different stores, different brands.
Exactly.
So the assistant might ask, "What size do you need?" You can respond with your usual size, like, "I usually wear a medium."
Okay.
You'll often see sizes like small, medium, large, extra large, or just the letters S, M, L, XL.
Right.
For some clothes, you might also see petite, regular, or tall, which relates to height. And then, of course, numbered sizes, especially for things like trousers or dresses.
So many options.
It is. So here's a pro tip. If you're unsure, just ask, does this come in a larger size? Or does this come in a smaller size? Or be specific. Do you have this in size? Whatever number you need.
Definitely better to ask than guess.
Absolutely. Saves you a return trip later.
And color. That's another big one for clothes.
Right. They might ask, what color are you looking for?
And I could say?
You could say, I'd like a blue one, or maybe black. Or if you see something you like but want a different shade, you can ask, do you have this in another color?
Or just state it up front. I'm looking for something in blue.
Exactly. Both work perfectly. Direct statements, questions. Use whatever feels natural to get what you need.
Okay, so you found something, maybe the right size, right color. Now you want to try it on.
Yep. The moment of truth. The sales assistant might offer, would you like to try one on?
And I'd say,
Yes, please, where is the fitting room? Or where are the changing rooms? They'll probably point you in the right direction. The fitting rooms are right over there.
And if they don't offer, can I just ask?
Absolutely. Just catch their eye and ask, "Excuse me, can I try this on?" before you head towards the room.
Okay. Tried it on. It fits. I like it. Next step. Price?
Always the price. You can just ask simply, "How much is it?"
How much is it? Okay.
And they might say, for instance, $35.99. If you're happy, a simple, "Okay, I'll take it," does the job.
Perfect.
Then the assistant might ask where you want to pay. Would you like to pay here or at the front counter?
Ah, right. Sometimes they have small tills nearby.
Exactly. In smaller shops, you often pay right there with the assistant. In bigger department stores, you might need to take your items to a main checkout area.
Got it. And then the final steps, actually paying at the checkout.
Yes, with the cashier. They might start with a polite, "Did you find everything you were looking for today?"
And I can just say, yes, thank you.
Perfect. They'll confirm the total, say $35.99, and then ask how you want to pay. How would you like to pay?
Credit card, please, or cash.
Exactly. They'll process the payment, give you your receipt, remember the receipt,
Always.
and often say something like, "Thank you for shopping with us." A nice reply is, "Thank you, have a nice day."
Great. That covers the clothing store flow pretty well. Maybe we should quickly cover some common clothing words just to round it out.
Sure, think about everyday stuff. You've got a shirt or more casual t-shirt, then pants, although you might hear trousers in British English,
Right, trousers.
and jeans, of course. For women, maybe a skirt or a dress, outerwear like a jacket for cooler days or a proper coat when it's really cold, and don't forget shoes and socks.
Basic but essential vocabulary.
Definitely helps to know the names of what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shift gears now. Let's head over to the grocery store. That's a whole different kind of shopping trip.
It really is. Different layout, different products, different questions.
So in a grocery store, you're probably looking for specific items on shelves. How do you ask for help?
Yeah, finding things can be the main challenge. A really common question is, "Excuse me, where can I find the bread?"
Okay.
And a store employee might direct you using the aisle number. The bread is in aisle 3.
Ah, aisle. That's the word for the long rows of shelf.
Exactly. Knowing the word aisle is super helpful in supermarkets.
And what about the fresh stuff? Like fruits and vegetables, the produce section.
Right, produce. Price and freshness are key there. You might point and ask, "Excuse me, how much are these apples?"
And the answer might be by weight.
Often, yes, like $2.49 per pound. Pound, often written as pound, is a really common unit of weight in places like the US.
Okay, per pound.
And if you're wondering if fruit is ready to eat, you could ask, "And are these bananas ripe?"
Ripe, meaning ready.
Yeah, ready to eat. They might say, yes, they're ready to eat, or maybe they'll need another day or two.
Useful. Okay, what about things like cheese or sliced meat from the counter?
Ah, the deli counter. That's another common spot.
Right.
They're usually ordered by weight, too. "Can I have 300 grams of cheese, please?" You'll hear grams and kilograms more with the metric system.
Grams, kilograms, pounds. Depends where you are, I guess.
It does. And after you order, say, the cheese, they might ask, "Would you like it sliced?"
And I can say,
"Yes, please." Or maybe specify, "Yes, thin slices, please." Or, "No, just the piece is fine."
okay, good options. And then finally, the grocery checkout. That always feels a bit faster paced.
It can be. The cashier might start with a quick, "Did you find everything okay?"
Mm-hmm.
They might also ask if you have a loyalty card. You know, one of those store cards for discounts.
Yeah, lots of stores have those.
Then they'll tell you the total amount, maybe $45.28. If you're paying with a debit card, they might ask, "Would you like any cash back?"
Getting extra cash out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And finally, the bag question, paper or plastic, or sometimes, "Did you bring your own bags?"
Right, okay. And just like with clothes, there must be specific vocabulary for groceries.
Oh, absolutely. Think about how supermarkets are organized. You have the produce section, fruits and vegetables.
Got it.
Then dairy milk, cheese, yogurt, meat, obviously. The bakery for fresh bread, cakes,
Mm-hmm.
frozen foods, canned goods, food cans, snacks like chips and cookies, and beverages or drinks.
Okay, those are the main sections. What about how things are measured or packaged?
Right. We mentioned pound and gram, kilogram. You might also see ounce, which is a smaller unit of weight.
Ounce.
Eggs are usually sold by the dozen, which is 12.
A dozen eggs.
Yep. And things come in a package or a container, a bottle, or a can.
Useful terms.
Mhm.
So what are some really key must-know phrases for grocery shopping?
Well, where can I find is probably number one.
Definitely.
If you have specific dietary needs or preferences, is this organic is useful. Checking freshness. When does this expire?
Ah, the expiry date. Good one.
If you're looking for bargains, what's on sale today?
Always worth asking.
At the deli counter, being clear about quantity. I'd like pounds of,
Yeah.
or grams of. If you're not sure they even stock something, do you sell?
Right.
And when comparing similar items, especially produce, which one is fresher, can be really helpful.
Fantastic. That's a great toolkit for the supermarket. Now, let's zoom in on prices again, because that applies everywhere.
Absolutely fundamental. There are a few really common ways to ask. The simplest is probably, how much is this?
Or, how much does this cost? Very similar. Another option is, what's the price of this?
All pretty straightforward. What if I think it's too expensive or I'm looking for a deal?
Good point.
Eh.
You can ask, is this on sale? Or maybe more generally, do you have anything less expensive?
Okay. Anything cheaper?
Yeah. And if you're buying several of the same item, sometimes you can ask, is there a discount if I buy more? Doesn't always work in big stores, but sometimes for certain promotions.
Worth a try, maybe. Could we walk through a quick example of asking about price and a discount?
Sure. Imagine you're holding a shirt. You ask the assistant, excuse me, how much is this shirt?
And they say,
They might say $25.99.
okay.
Then you could follow up, maybe hoping for a deal.
Yeah.
And is it on sale?
Right.
And perhaps they reply, yes, actually it's 20% off today.
Nice. So how do I find out the actual final price?
You can just ask, so what's the final price? Or
Yeah.
maybe, so how much is it after the discount?
Okay.
They likely calculate it for you. After the discount, it'll be about $20.79. Perfect. See how asking those follow-up questions gets you the full picture.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask.
Okay, another slightly tricky area, returns and exchanges. Knowing the right phrases here feels really important. It can be a bit awkward sometimes.
It can feel that way, but being prepared makes a huge difference. So if you need to return something, like that shirt from earlier, you'd go back to the store, probably to the customer service desk or a cashier.
And what do I say first?
Start clearly.
Hello? I'd like to return this shirt, please.
Okay.
The very next question you'll almost certainly hear is, do you have the receipt?
Ah, there it is again. The receipt.
Can't stress it enough. Keep it safe if you think you might return something.
Okay, got the receipt. What next?
You need to explain why you're returning it. Be clear and concise. For example, it's too small, I need a larger size.
Right, state the reason.
Then the employee will usually offer options. Would you like to exchange it for a larger size or get a refund?
Exchange or refund. If you just want a different size, you'd say, I'd like to exchange it for a large size, please.
And they'll check if they have it.
Exactly. They might say, let me check if we have it in large. Yes, we do. Here you are.
And I should probably try the new size on too.
Good idea. You can ask, can I try it on first? They'll direct you to the fitting room again.
Okay, tried it on. The large fits perfectly.
Great. You can tell them, this fits much better. Thank you. If it's a straight exchange for the same item, just a different size, and the price is the same, they might say, great, since it's the same price, there's nothing more you need to pay. Would you like a new receipt for the exchange?
Simple enough. But what if I don't want an exchange? Maybe the item was faulty, or I just want my money back.
Right. So if you want a refund, or if there's something wrong with the item, maybe you bought a blender and it doesn't work properly,
Okay.
you'd state that clearly. I'd like to return this blender. It doesn't work properly.
Again, they'll ask for the receipt.
Almost definitely. And they'll likely ask how you paid. How did you pay for this?
So I'd say, I paid with my credit card, or I paid cash.
Correct. If you paid by card, they'll usually explain, okay, we'll refund the money back to your credit card. It might take 3 to 5 business days to appear in your account. If you paid cash, you typically get cash back right away.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
So just to summarize the return exchange vocabulary, what are the key reasons someone might return something?
Common reasons include it doesn't fit, or more specifically, it's too small or it's too big.
Right.
For faulty items, it doesn't work properly, or it's damaged, or it's broken.
Okay.
Sometimes people just change their minds. I changed my mind, or maybe it was a gift, but I don't need it.
Got it. And key phrases for the process itself.
The main ones are, I'd like to return this. Can I get a refund? I'd like to exchange this for maybe specifying the size or color.
Mm-hmm.
It's also useful to know about the store's rules. Do you have a return policy? How many days do I have to return items? And sometimes, do I need the original packaging?
Those are really practical questions. Knowing these phrases could make a potentially awkward situation much less stressful.
Absolutely. Preparation is key.
Finally, you touched on this earlier, but it's worth remembering that shopping isn't the same everywhere. There are cultural differences, right?
Oh, definitely. Shopping habits can vary quite a bit globally, even between English-speaking countries sometimes.
Like what?
Well, one big one is haggling or bargaining over prices. While it's common in markets in some parts of the world, in most retail stores, say in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, the prices are fixed. What's on the tag is what you pay.
No negotiating.
Generally, no, not in standard shops or department stores. Also, return policies aren't universal. Some stores are very flexible, others have strict time limits or conditions. It's not a given you can always return something.
Good to know. Check the policy.
Exactly. Another thing, tipping. While common in restaurants or for services, you generally don't tip the cashier or sales assistant in a retail store. You might also find, especially in Europe or places focused on sustainability, that you're expected or encouraged to bring your own shopping bags. Sometimes plastic bags cost extra.
Right, bring your own bag.
Yeah. And the level of help from sales staff can differ. Sometimes they're very proactive, asking if you need help constantly. Other times, they might hang back and let you browse unless you approach them.
Sort of different service styles.
Kind of. And one last thing, taxes. In some places, like Europe or Australia, the price you see on the tag usually includes the sales tax, like VAT or GST.
Okay, that's the final price.
Mostly, yeah. But in the US and Canada, the price shown often doesn't include sales tax, and that gets added on at the checkout.
So the final amount can be a surprise if you're not expecting it.
It can be. So just being aware of that possibility is helpful. A little cultural awareness just smooths the whole process.
Wow. Okay, that adds another layer, but it's a really useful context. Well, we have certainly covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We really have. We started with the basics, types of stores, the people involved, essential items like receipts and price tags. Then we walked through buying clothes step by step, covering sizing, color, trying things on, paying.
And groceries, too. Finding items.
Yes.
Asking about produce, the deli counter, the checkout process.
Exactly. Plus, specific ways to ask about prices and discounts, which is always important.
And crucially, how to handle returns and exchanges without feeling stressed.
Right, covering the reasons why and the phrases you'll need. And finally, those cultural tips to keep in mind.
So hopefully after all this, you're feeling, well, much more prepared and confident about tackling shopping in English.
Absolutely. And maybe this gives you something to think about. Consider a recent shopping trip you took, maybe just to the supermarket or to buy a small item, in your own language. How might that experience have been different if you had to do the whole thing in English? Which specific words or phrases from our chat today do you think would have been the most useful for you in that situation?
That's a great way to reflect and sort of solidify the learning. Think about applying it to your own experience.
Exactly.
Well, thanks so much for taking this deep dive into the world of English shopping with us today. We really hope it's given you some valuable tools and a bit more confidence.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new episode. See you next time.